Suddenly, I was in this tunnel. I looked up and I saw this light.
We are here with Gary Wimmer. He wrote a book about lithomancy, and he also wrote a book called A Second in Eternity, which is the topic of another video. Can you tell us more or less what is lithomancy, please?
Lithomancy is one of 1,000 different systems that people can use to interpret symbolism. It just happens to use like tarot cards, astrology, they're all, nobody's reading a book, they're looking at your hand. Every psychic art, there's a methodology behind it, a technique. I learned this in 1980. I met a lady who was doing readings. I was going through a lot of complications at that time in my life. I met her and she did a reading for me, and it really kind of amazed me. I'd never seen anything like this before, and I asked her if she'd show me how she did it. And so she had a class, and it was pouring rain, and nobody came but me and her. And so she showed me pretty quickly in about 5 or 10 minutes, because we both wanted to get back home before it really started raining. So with that 10-minute introduction, I started practicing the next day. And here's what it boils down to. You can see the book behind me. It's you use 16 stones. They are Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, the 10 planet stones. And then there's love, life, luck, commitment, timing, and place. Those are 6 personal stones. Now, I do most of them over the phone now, especially when COVID hit, and I'm a little disabled, so I don't try to go to 10 psychic fairs anymore. But when you do it in person, I let the person charge the stones up and drop them into this circle of leather. Now, I tell them about how high to do it, because I don't want the stones to go all over the room or to end up in one pile. So there's a certain, I tell them, 6 or 7 inches, depending on the surface. If I did it on a pillow, it might be different, but I do it usually on a towel or a cloth. If I do it over the phone, I have people say drop. I'm charging the stones up. When they say drop, I drop them, which is the way I do 90% of them now. In about 2002, I called up 3 or 4 friends that I'd done readings for and asked them if I could do it over the phone. Just let me see if I can, do it. And they all agreed. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to charge the stones up. You just say drop, I'll drop. We'll see if it works. No problem. It worked. So I didn't question it, So that's the method called lithomancy. And I like it because it's very intuitive, There's each stone represents something in particular, and I can very easily, you don't have to study a whole lot, don't have to read a whole lot, don't have to remember a whole lot. If you know the basics of astrology and what the planets mean, and the basics of the 6 stones, the 6 personal stones, the rest of it's just kind of looking at the pattern and letting the universe tell.
Can you show people how to throw the stones and more or less do a quick reading and see what comes up?
Yeah, we can. I will set the mic to where it could look back on the stones so I can explain it to you. Just stay right there. You'll see what I'm gonna do. Well, I use these 16 stones and I'll explain them. This is the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So those are all the planet stones. This is place, that's luck, that's magic, having to do with timing, that's a life stone, that's love, and that's a commitment stone. So what I do, because most of these I do over the phone now, if I do them in person, I give the person the stones and let them charge them up. When I do it over the phone or in video like we're doing now, AJ, I just charge them up and ask you, when it feels right, one time real clearly, just say drop, okay? When it feels right to you, say drop. And turn your mic on so I can hear you.
Here it comes. Drop.
Drop, okay. So here's, I read the pattern. This is 12 o'clock. That's 3 o'clock. Okay, that's 3. Good. That's 6. That's 9. I start in the center. I read up to the top and read around like a clock for several
Okay,
weeks.
so depending on their position, they will say something.
Correct. They'll say something, they'll feel things. And I see patterns. Like right here, I see a pattern of very strong triangle with the luck stone, and it's pointing up to Jupiter, which is great expansion. This is Uranus and Neptune, has a lot to do with spirituality, creativity, and new plans. This is the life stone, and you probably can't see this, but there's a little dot on the end of that life
Yes.
stone. Yeah, and it's pointing out toward the future. What I'm seeing is how this triangle is setting up this scenario for you to take a lot of future creativity into the future. This new feeling of luck, this feeling of creativity, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all lining up together. They're all the 3 spiritual stones. It's like you're updating your creativity in a lot with new visions and new plans, but it's really based on not only spirituality, it's based on this Saturn, what you're learning and what you're able to teach, both. Saturn kind of holds us in check. For example, if you want to be a good violinist, you have to learn to play scales. This is a lot of teaching, learning, and sort of like, it's like a new foundation. It's like collecting stuff, information. It can be at work. This is a reignition of your passion. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay, this is Venus. It's pointing to Jupiter. I feel like y'all kind of almost had a second set of wedding vows, mentally and spiritually. You're both lucky, and you know it. And it's not an accident. It's a lot of karmic things coming together in this lifetime because of this. Pluto, it represents karma, the extremes, the past. It's right next to Saturn. So you're moving forward with a lot of, like, not being weighed down by using it in your lives. So
Okay.
there's a lot of freshness in your life and her life both. This first week or two is the use.
Where are the weeks represented?
Week 1, 2,
Oh.
3, like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9. First thing here is this triangle. It's so dominant. It's so strong. It's showing not only the close future, but you see all these stones lined up here.
Yes,
love,
yes.
Place, life. Love, place stone, the sun, power, commitment stone, magic stone, luck stone, Jupiter. That's a lot of good stuff about relationship and expansion. And you're just setting that up now because I felt like you were getting remarried. I didn't know, but to you, both of you, it feels like a remarriage. Well, I think it's very healthy for both of you, because I think it gives you this new upgraded sense of not only stability, but creativity. That's writing. And it's also pointing toward the future here. But it feels like it's an upgrade of creativity, of writing, of expression, of communication with her, with yourself, and techniques. Very strong on techniques. That's what Mercury is. So this Saturn stone, even if you're kind of held in place a little bit, it's helping you master the scales on the violin so you can play better or master things. It's not in vain that you're having to kind of do a lot of organizing.
What you're saying makes sense. I've been having a lot of opportunities. I was just selected by IONS to do a presentation on the next IONS conference. And there are a lot of things going on in my life. And I do feel that it is like a reboost. I am reboosting myself, I'm starting a new stage in my life.
It feels like a new stage, and if you go into a new stage, a new chapter, a new period in your life, you got to kind of rearrange things again to make them operative, to make them efficient, to make them smooth, that sort of thing.
Okay, so what is the purpose of knowing this? How can that help me or the person who receives a reading from you?
Well, I tend to see, I don't try to predict every day and everything that's going to happen to somebody, because you got free will and you can change your mind. I don't try to predict exact things. What I try to do, and this is what I'm good at, is seeing what people are going through and why, what they're learning at this point in their life. And you've had this great triangle, which is a lot of growth spiritually. You've got Mercury here in the first week, that's techniques, that's writing, that's decision. That's this upgrade, Saturn. It's putting things back in a new shape. You've got a great triangle here between Uranus, which is creativity, but Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all lining up. So it's creativity with spirituality. Here's the moon. It's emotions. You're putting your emotions into it now, probably more than ever. And I think it has to do with this sense of love, the sense of relationship. It's really adding to the stability in your life. This is like emotions. Congratulations, because it's a good thing in your life. It's a good thing in your life.
Great.
So by the 4th and 5th and 6th week here, you've really learned this. You've gone from should I, shouldn't I, maybe flip a coin, whatever, to yes, to charging full blast. And by the 6th and 7th week here, this life stone, again with this little dot on it, it's pointing toward the future. It's saying how what you're setting up now on a fresh basis, especially with the support and especially with new communication, that's the AINDS thing and other things. By the 6th and 7th week here, your life's really moving forward with a lot of, like, everything kind of working at once together. By the 9th to the 12th week, just kind of quick here, this is the love stone. This is the play stone. This is you, the sun. This is commitments. This is magic. This is the luck stone. So that's kind of in general. Now, notice you got another triangle from here to here to here.
Okay.
Love stone, Mercury, life stone. That means decisions about love are going to improve your life, basically, in a simple thing. You've got these 3 stones, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all lining up with the life stone, and the moon stone, emotions, saying how emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, not only you're learning more, but you're able to put it into play easier and probably with less more magic, more it becomes second nature. I don't try to bring up the bad stuff, because there's things you've been healing from way back in the past that you've made a lot of progress at. So I don't think I have to remind you of what you've been through there. You know it.
Yeah.
Pluto's extremes.
Okay.
Pluto, and because we're going through Pluto right now, the whole planet is going through extremes. You, me, everybody. And we're going through these extremes because we have to see everything that's broken that needs to be fixed in order to fix it, period.
This is really interesting. So people, when they receive this reading, you basically read it out for them and more or less tell them what their next 12 weeks are going to be. That's like 4 months, right?
I tell them what I see life is presenting them with now. They have free will as to whether to heed it or keep playing the same broken record or move to Idaho. But what I try to point out to them is, hey, this is a good course, or maybe not this. Or at the end of this 3-month period, you've got Jupiter, which is great expansion financially, mentally, it's travel, which is what you're planning here with the IADS.
Yes.
Communication. So what you're working on, you've already got a lucky start. You've already got this good relationship, Mars and Venus working together. And you've already made good decisions about y'all, about what you want to do, about both of y'all. It's not like you don't have problems. Of course you do. You're on a pretty good roll, man. That's what I'm trying to say.
I feel that you were able, without knowing me, because we really talked the first time yesterday, and without knowing me, you said a lot of things, because I could have been unmarried, single, or I could have been in my worst time and not feeling like I am starting a new phase, and I am. So I think you managed to read my reality. Gary, that was awesome. I really liked it, And I know that when you had your NDE, shortly after, you started reading without anything in particular. It was a regular deck of cards. Can you talk to me about that?
I was in college, 65 to 70, actually 68, 69, and 70. I started reading a lot of Edgar Cayce, Madame Blavatsky, about psychics. There was a lady who did a reading for me and told me a lot about my basic nature, which surprised me at the time. I was an electrical engineer in college. I was also a musician. And she said, you probably end up being a psychic a lot of your life and an artist. And sure enough, so I got really interested in, psychic phenomena and so forth way back then. I started using a regular deck of playing cards because it was nice and simple. I didn't want to try to remember all the tarot stuff. Everybody did tarot. I kind of wanted to find a nice, simple groove method that I could develop myself. And why not? I mean,
Interesting.
somebody came up with reading stones and leaves and celestial bodies, and whether it came through spirit coming through man trying to teach us the truth, or us developing a system like astronomy to figure out what's going where. In either case, we got a lot of systems, and there's
Right.
no reason. There's no reason we can't see. I started giving readings with cards before I had the near-death experience. But once I had the near-death experience, it confirmed to me that everything is connected to everything. You can see symbolism in everything.
Wow, that's amazing. So, how can people contact you, and what do you offer? What type of services?
Well, I do readings over the phone. I don't do them in person anymore unless someone hires me to an event. But the easiest way is go Google lithomancy.com. LITHOMANCY.com, lithomancy. Or you can Google Gary Wimmer. You'll find me, GARYWIMMER, or email me, gw@garywimmer.com. And you can get a hold of me. We can set up a time or set up a reading, recording, whatever.
What do you offer exactly? You offer in-person readings, you offer online readings. What else do you offer? And can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, I offer readings over the phone, $60 for 30 minutes, $75 for 45, $90 for an hour. I record the reading and email you a link of it. I do parties and events away from my home. I don't offer readings at my home anymore because we got the smallest little 3-bedroom house in Austin. It's tiny, and we don't have any place here, and I'm disabled. It's hard for me to move my computer and my gear to another room. So I will go out and meet people for an event or do readings at their house, but there's just no room for me here anymore. Last year or two, we got a kitty, and my girlfriend's daughter is here a lot. So most of them I do over the phone now, and I'm very effective at that because even if I do one in person for someone, I'm looking at the stones. I'm feeling it. I'm not looking at their expression or if they go, uh-huh, or none of that. So it doesn't matter if someone's in front of me or not, really.
Also, your book is on Amazon. Your 2 books, actually, right? So I'm going to include the links in the description. And thanks a lot, Gary. This was fun. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad we had this conversation. Okay, bye.
Look forward to being with you again, brother.
Bye.